The French, we all know when we go to a French restaurant, we're probably going to get the best meal ever. They do things right, and they do it right because they're consistent. Recipes are handed down from grandparents, great grandparents, and nothing has ever changed. I went to a baguette baking class that my brother had for his 60th birthday in London. It was a long affair, very detailed affair. And it took a long time. I thought, there's got to be a way to do this quicker. So I'd always been cooking with the New York Times no-knead recipe. Had you seen that one at all? New York Times? It's a beautiful recipe. Mix your dough, leave it, put it into a crusade pot, and it comes out. But that kind of bread is not very conducive for bringing for dinner parties. You cut it, it splinters everywhere. So what I was looking for was a baguette that I can bring to people's dinner parties. I can slice it, serve it easily. Now, I didn't want to go to all the trouble that the French do when they're making the baguettes, and I played around a lot with the recipe. We have a place down at ocean level and a place up here at 8,000 feet. So I wanted to find some recipe that would be consistent no matter what altitude we bake it at. And I finally, with a lot of toing and froing, I think I got it right. I've been making this baguette recipe now for several years. I've been bringing it around to, I think I've been in many of your houses with my baguettes, and I didn't get any complaints. The thing is, when you make the baguette, it doesn't look like a beautiful French baguette, but when you slice it up, nobody knows. And it tastes like a baguette, which is nice. And at the end of the day, if you've got any left, it's wonderful for making croutons the next day, or putting in your salad or in your soup. Just chopping it, putting in the oven with some olive oil and mixed herbs, get a wonderful experience. So, how to do this? First of all, the ingredients. We're going to go through this in stages. I'm going to tell you the ingredients. I'm going to tell you the equipment we need. And then stage one is making the dough, mixing the flour, etc. The next stage is putting it in to rise. I usually keep it in my microwave overnight. It's a nice draft-free environment. In the morning, I take it out, take off the saran wrap, dump it onto the counter, and very gently wiggle it into two baguettes. Don't want to manhandle it at that point because it's quite delicate. You don't want to get the air out of it. I then keep my oven up to 450, next stage. And when it reaches 450, I put like half a glass of water in it. It raises the steam in the middle of the oven. Close the door, let it come back up to heat, and then put my tray in. Put the timer on for 30 minutes. Take it out. It's cooked. Leave it for 30 minutes or even an hour. The more you leave it, the more it forms. We have a crust and we have a crumb. And to get the balance of crust and crumb, it depends how long you make the baguette. The longer the baguette, the more the crust, the less the crumb. The shorter, you get more of a bready baguette, more crumb than crust. My likes it just the way we do it with two baguettes, so it's nice and crunchy and there's not too much dough in each bite. So the equipment that we will need to do this, quite simple. You can get this tray on Amazon, not expensive, about $10 or $12. It's the Nordic ware. Do you have these at home, anyone like this one? It's a basic half tray for baking. And I like the non-stick one. The question is, do you bake with parchment paper or not? I started going through a lot of parchment paper and I said, why bother? This releases easily at 450 degrees after 30 minutes with a nice moist oven. The baguettes will just lift up, and I usually just put them on the edge here when I'm done. Other tools, you'll need two measures, 3 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of water. I use a warm water. In terms of teaspoons, we will need ingredients of salt, and I use this Fleshman's bread machine instant yeast. Once you open it, keep it in the fridge. It should last for a long time. And in terms of measures, we'll go through this in detail. I use 1 teaspoon of this. It's like bigger because it's salt, half a teaspoon of the yeast. When I mix them all together, I make sure that the two things are not quite together. They are apart, and then I'll mix them together with the warm water. We'll go through that step. In terms of equipment for mixing, the 4-quart bowl is the perfect one. You pick these up at Walmart. And I'll usually fill it with my mixture, and in the morning it'll have bubbled up to about 3/4 the size of this container. In terms of flour, many kinds of flour. You see bread flour, you see expensive flour, cheap flour. I just get all-purpose flour. I've tried with bread flour. It doesn't make that much of a difference. But what I want you to do is to try out the standard recipe first that I'm giving you, and then try it a few times, and then start tweaking it, seeing if you can do a better job with maybe different kinds of flour, different salts. I use plain salt. If you choose to use sea salt, it might give you a better taste. Use a tad more sea salt because of the bigger crystals. But this, for starters, will get you fine, the Morton plain salt. Yes, ma'am.
Bleached or unbleached, or does it matter? Wow.
This is what I've used, and it seems to work. Just the all-purpose plain flour from Walmart.
But you haven't had
This is bleached. I've tried unbleached King Arthur at times. It works. So this is quite a flexible recipe. You can mix it around. Now, I use a wooden spoon for stirring. It's kind of a myth that you should use wooden spoons. If you've got a stainless steel spoon at home, it'll work just as well. But this is a nice sturdy spoon that works well. Where did we get this? I think a tenant left it for us. Thank you, tenant.
very.
Yes. Okay. What else can I tell you? As a little bit of an aside, when I told my daughter, my 43-year-old daughter, that I was going to be doing this, and maybe Daddy would become an influencer. Do you remember how your children's eyes rolled a full 360 degrees when you said the most stupid thing ever to them? Well, maybe I'm not going to be an influencer, but this is my first time teaching in 7 years after 40 years of teaching, so it feels great to be here. Okay, now let's get down to the actual process. Do you want to come closer so you can watch this, or are you happy from you're comfortable there? Sit, enjoy. Any questions from the crowd online? I'm not seeing any questions. Just message me if you have any questions. Okay, one thing I found out is that trying to take flour out of a bag of flour is the messiest thing ever. So what I do is I dump the flour into a box and keep it in a box like this. And it makes it easy. So we can put this one away. All right, so let's proceed. 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of yeast, and 1.5 cups of warm water. Back of the class, can you remember? How much salt? 1 teaspoon. How much yeast? Half a teaspoon. How many cups of flour? 3. How many cups of warm water? That's all you have to remember. Would you consider measuring with a scale? No need to. I'm not that precise. In fact, when I take my cups of flour, I do it like this. I wiggle it and levels it off. If you're a purist, then of course you take your knife and smooth it over. But it seems to work fine this way here. Just wiggling, getting 3 cups. You don't sift flour? No, I've tried sifting. It doesn't make any difference. Sometimes in the morning, my dough is not right. Sometimes it's got little lumps in it, but they disappear in the cooking in the moist oven. So no worries about it. Okay, 3 cups of flour in there. Let's put the flour away. How much yeast? Half a teaspoon of yeast. Put it in one side of your flour and put the salt the other side. I'm I'm not exactly sure what happens, but salt and yeast don't get on. One stops the production of the other one. So until we get it all mixed together, keep them apart. Okay, going up with the salt now. 1 teaspoon of salt. The other side. Now, in terms of water, what do you consider warm water? Do you remember when you're in Europe and you take a bath and you put your toe in, it's suddenly too hot? Or you put your toe in and it's just right. Well, it's funny, I grew up with baths. I never heard of showers until I came to this country. So take a lot of baths. So in terms of heat, turn it to hot, and then it's now too hot. It's beginning to feel too hot. In fact, I'll fill up a bowl and just pass it around, and you can feel what I consider about the right heat for this. That's about right. Assistant, could you please take this to the audience? I'd say, would you say it's about 95? Is it about 95? Yeah. My goal here in mixing this dough is to get all of the flour absorbed into the water. Mix it around and have a little taste of it. Just make sure it's not too salty or it tastes about right. You get the hang of what it should taste like. Yeah, it's okay. Not great. It'll taste better. Now, if you want to get your hands dirty at this point here, and you want to get all of the dough up, you can just put your hands in and make sure everything is together. Lift it up. It looks like that's this kind of a softness. That's what your dough should look like. So not too dry, not too wet. It's about right. And now we want to baby this until the morning. It's now 9 o'clock, 8:30. It's ready for bed. Okay. This is what it looks like. And first thing we do to it is cover it with 2 pieces of saran wrap, either direction. And when you've got it all covered like that, put it away for the night. Best place I've found in any house that I've been in is in the microwave. It keeps a constant temperature and it works out nicely. So I've had one in here since, do you remember that ad for Dunkin' Donuts? I have to get up at 3 o'clock to make the donuts. I got up at 4 o'clock today for making about 3 batches of dough, and this one was made at 7 a.m. So this is what it's risen like. So this is one that just came out of the microwave. You can have a look at it. This is what it looks like in the morning. Can you see the nice holes underneath it there? Lots of air bubbles. So the next stage is how to convert this into something that'll go into the oven. So we shall put some flour on the counter. Just liberally sprinkle some flour around to keep it handy. You might need some more. And then we're going to turn out the dough onto the flour. Okay, get rid of this one. Okay, put some flour on the top of it. Get ready to roll this thing out. Now, we don't want to be too rough with it. And do you want to come and see what I'm doing? Maybe look a little bit closer. You can't see from there very well. Now, our goal is to get this, we want to get the dough in terms of 2 baguettes on this tray here. I'm good here, thank you. Okay, so this is an 18-inch tray. This is about 36 inches from here to the wall. So how do we do this? I want you to relive your inner child. Do you remember the time you were in kindergarten? They gave you some Play-Doh?
Yeah.
And you made snakes? You made long snakes? So this is how we're doing it. I'm just gently, I'm coaxing it rather than being a kindergartner with the hands. And it goes nice and long. It's not resisting me. Look at that. It just keeps going. Is it nearly there? Yeah, it's nearly at 36 inches. Okay, as easy as that. And then we'll just cut it in half. And simply lift it from the counter like this onto your tray. It's now in bakeable form. What I like to do now is take some seeds or some Parmesan cheese, Gruyere cheese, some fresh thyme maybe, sprinkle it on there. The world's your oyster. You could do exactly what you like here. But it's now ready for baking. And the way that we do the baking is this is where you have to be pretty safe. You're dealing with 450-degree oven. And I'm putting half a glass of warm water in there and just checking I don't have anything in there. And then, no.
Just throw the water.
Yeah. So ChatGPT says, what are you doing? You're crazy. You don't throw it in there. You put a pan at the bottom. I've always just thrown it in there and it seems to work.
Safer than the pan.
Is it?
No, I think that's a much better way.
Well,
How you do it.
the thing is, when you open this, you're going to get a whoosh of hot air in your face.
Yes.
So be careful when you open it.
Yeah.
And you're going to put this in the middle of the oven. Open, in, woof, and then turn your timer on for exactly 30 minutes.
In Florida and here.
It seems to be consistent wherever we are. So that is the basis of doing it. When we take it out, the trick is to stop your wife eating it immediately because she loves hot baguettes, because these do not finish cooking for another hour, really. You want to be able to touch that crust and go crunch.
What do you mean? 30 minutes in the oven?
30 minutes and then just leave it out on a rack, and it continues to cool. The holes become bigger in the crumb. The crust becomes cracklier, and so in the morning you get out your butter. And what butter are you going to use? Irish Kerrygold butter is the best, non-fattening, of course, but that is basically the class. Now,
On a rack?
yeah, you can put it on this rack here, or I just put it on the baking tray diagonally so that there's air all around it. But if you've got a rack, it's even better. This is too small for it.
Don't take the bread out. Leave it on the pan and put it on the rack. And put the pan on the rack.
No, you take the pan out with the bread on it, then lift the loaf, and then put it on the edge of the pan.
Okay. Right away. Right away.
Yeah. So here's, excuse me. So for basically, you're putting it across like this.
Just airing.
And it airs. And then you'll be able to feel the baguette. It feels hollow. When you thump it in the back, it goes thud, thud, thud. If you try and cut it too early, the whole thing will crumble on you. So really leave it for 30 minutes at least, maybe an hour, and then it makes easy cutting.